Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for your opening statement, Yahya. Just stepping in here to remind you all that we will have the opening statement for NakdimonB52. So you have 10 minutes, and we will start the time. Let us start it here at 7:24 p.m. and 40 seconds is your mic. We will give you 5-second relinquished time. Thank you.
So is it my mic? Is it my mic already? Okay. Shalom uvrochim abayim, everyone. Hello and welcome. The debate is about is Ishmael part of the covenant God made with Isaac? Now, the point that I will seek to demonstrate is that the following: all the visions of Abraham and all the promises regarding Abraham and his descendants, as far as the covenant goes, are about Yitzchak, Isaac, and his descendants alone, not about Ishmael. It will be extremely easy for me to demonstrate that as far as the covenant goes, Ishmael is never mentioned. In relation to the covenant, it is only Isaac that matters. Now, my opponent said that I won't be able to produce a verse that will exclude Ishmael from the covenant. He is wrong, and I will demonstrate my point later on if I get to it. In the first section, I will in the second section. I heard the circumcision analogy. Notice, circumcision is a sign of the covenant. It is not the covenant itself. We have talked about this before, Yahya, and I heard your analogy of the signing of the covenant as being a contract, signing a contract at the bank. However, this analogy is way off. The correct analogy is the following: imagine someone going to the notary and makes a will. In that will, he says that his belongings will go to his descendants after him. He has 8 sons and has them all sign the will, okay? When the man dies, the will is read and the inheritance is divided. When the will is read, the descendants find out that only one of them will inherit the belongings. And the will goes on to explain as follows, what in the small letters that no one bothered to read. With the phrase "my belongings will go to my descendants," I mean my son Isaac and his descendants. The rest will get money from my emergency account, but my houses, my cars, my businesses, and all of my money and all my other belongings will go to Isaac and his descendants. Now, although the descendants of this man have signed the covenant, the promise of the will was only regarded to one son called Isaac. The rest merely served as a witness to the will. They have no part to the will at all. This is exactly what we see in Genesis. Let me read for you. Here it comes. Got my mic there. Genesis 12, verse 1. And Yahweh said to Abram, Go forth from your land and from your birthplace. Here it is. And I will make and from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land I will show you. And I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and will aggrandize your name, and you shall be a blessing. Okay? And I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you, and all the families of the earth shall be blessed to you. So after Abraham left his father's house and went to the land God appointed to him, we read in verse 7, And Yahweh appeared to Abram, saying, To your seed I will give this land. So immediately we see that the promise and the covenant God makes with Abram is not regarding circumcision. It is the land that God will give to Abraham and his descendants. Now we go on. Genesis 15, verse 1. After these incidents, the word of Yahweh came to Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am your shield. I will reward you exceedingly great. Your reward is exceedingly great. Now the sun was to set, and a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and behold, a fright and a great darkness was falling upon him. And God said to Abraham, You shall surely know that your seed will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and they will enslave them and oppress them for 400 years. And also the nation that they will serve I will judge. And afterwards they will go forth with great possession. And then we jump, no, we go on to read, But you will come to your forefathers in peace, and you will be buried in good and old age. Verse 15. And verse 16 now. The fourth generation will return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites will not be complete until then. Now we jump to verse 8. Now here is the covenant, Yahya. Here is the covenant. On that day, Yahweh formed a covenant with Abraham, saying, To your seed I have given this land, from the river to Egypt unto the great river, the Euphrates River. Where is Ishmael here? Even before Ishmael or Isaac were born, God makes a covenant with Abraham. And that covenant is repeated over and over again after this. The covenant is made with Abraham and his descendants. Notice that all the promises made by Yahweh, the God of Abraham, are exclusively tied with those descendants of Abraham that will be enslaved for 400 years in a strange land, and after that will come to the land God promised Abraham and his descendants. We see this in Genesis 12 verse 7. We see that in 15 verse 13, verse 18, which I read just now. There is simply no other promise. If you can find it, well, then please provide us. Now we go to Genesis 17. And Abram was 99 years old, and God appealed to Avram, saying, he said to him, Ani El Shaddai, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be perfect. I will place my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you very greatly. Abraham fell on his face, and God spoke to him, saying, verse 4, Behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall become the father of a multitude of nations. Now, we jump to verse 7. Here is what the covenant is all about, because it gets repeated over and over again. We saw it in 15, verse 18. Here it is. I will give you, I will establish my covenant between me and you, and between your seed after you, throughout their generation, as an everlasting covenant, to be to you for a God, and your seed after you. So God will not only give them the land, he will also be their God, and they will be his people. Verse 8, And I will give you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, the entire land of Canaan, for a possession, an everlasting possession, and I will be to them for a God. That's the topic. Yeah, I know. So God said to Abraham, And you shall keep my covenant, you and your seed after you, throughout that generation. This is my covenant with you, which you shall observe between me and between you and between your seed after you, that every male should be circumcised. And here is verse 11. And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it will be the sign of the covenant between between me and you. Notice, the sign is circumcision. It is not the covenant itself. And you can claim that Ishmael signed the covenant, but not only Ishmael signed the covenant, the entire household of Abraham signed the covenant. His other sons signed the covenant as well. There is nothing special about Ishmael. There is nothing special about the other servants and the other sons. The promise will be perpetuated by Isaac and his descendants. When I come up the mic, next section, I will show you how Ishmael is excluded from this covenant God made with Abraham. Your mic.